Lacey here with the Sweet Pea Chef, and today I want to take you through what a day of intermittent fasting looks like, what I eat in a day, what meals I choose, when I choose to eat it, and then kind of take you along for the ride on why it works for me. So let's get started. Before I forget, if you are not a subscriber, make sure to hit that subscribe button and to click that bell so you get notified of whenever I get a new video release. So if you follow me on my Instagram stories, you know that I've been testing out intermittent fasting for the past month or two and kind of seeing how it works for me. Overall, I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed that I have less inflammation, I have more energy, I'm not hungry all of the time, and I get to condense my eating windows so that I can eat a lot in a small time frame so I'm nice and full, and then I just don't worry about eating for the rest of the day. So since there were so many questions on the ins and outs of intermittent fasting, I figured I would just kind of walk you through what I do in a day. Just as a real quick note, intermittent fasting is not a diet. So I'm still following my clean eating lifestyle. The intermittent fasting part is just basically when you choose to eat your meals and extending the time frames of when you're fasting, which means when you're not eating. You can follow any diet you want and do intermittent fasting at the same time. So my mornings start around 6:10 in the morning when we get up and we start getting the kids ready for school. The first thing I do when I wake up is I weigh myself because I want to keep track of my goals, and weighing myself each day really helps me stay on track. So right now my goals are to maintain my weight. I weigh 140 pounds and I feel like that's a good weight for me. I'm still working on building out lean muscle and losing any extra fat stores that I do have, but I want to maintain the 140 pounds as much as possible. Every morning I make sure to drink about 20 to 24 ounces of water right away. Not only does this help just give me energy as the morning gets going, it also helps take away any hunger that I might have from fasting overnight. So the next thing I do is to get our little ready for school. She's 2 years old and she can be a handful sometimes, so I get her off to school before I get anything else ready in the morning. After dropping off Carolina, I get back and I get all of our food ready. Dustin and I go to the studio during the days to work, and so I want to make sure that we have a healthy lunch. Fortunately, we did a bunch of meal prep over the weekend, and so we have all sorts of healthy food ready to grab. So I'm gonna get those meal prep containers and I'm gonna get that all packed up and ready for the day. Making my food ahead of time has been so valuable to intermittent fasting as well because I can really track my macros, I can keep track of healthy foods. So I used to eat breakfast every morning. I wouldn't go to work out unless I had had breakfast because I thought I needed that energy in order to work out. However, when I first started intermittent fasting, I started to push my breakfast until after my workout, and I found out that it's totally fine and I didn't have any lack of energy. In fact, I had even more energy. So while I'm fasting and before we get to the gym, I have a black coffee. This is after I finish my water and 30 minutes before my workout. I used to do pre-workouts and I never really liked that they weren't clean eating, so I was always a little bothered by that. But also if you have fake sugar like sucralose in your pre-workouts, even if it doesn't have any calories in there, that does cause an insulin spike and that does break your fast. So a lot of people think that they are fasting when in fact they've broken their fast already with their pre-workout. Once the rest of the kiddos are ready for school, we hop in the car and we take them to school and then we head on to the gym. Dustin and I usually get to the gym around 7:45. My goal is to train about 6 to 7 days a week and to work out for about 60 minutes on those days. I do strength training and my goal currently is for body recomposition. A lot of people worry that their body is gonna burn protein in their muscle in order to have energy for their workouts. And that's actually not true. What actually happens is when you're fasting, you have increased levels of human growth hormone. And that not only helps keep the muscle you currently have and maintain that, it also helps you build extra muscle. So once we get our workout in, then we head on over to our studio. So we tend to get to the studio around 9 and I just keep fasting at this point. I also try to have as much water as possible during the day. So I'll have some water and then I might alternate that with some black coffee. So now it's about 11:30 and I'm getting hungry. I have not had any food since 4 p.m. the day before. So I've had a fast from 4 p.m. to 11:30 a.m. So at this point, we're gonna have our first meal. So for this meal, I'm having two different parts to it. I'm having some cilantro lime chicken with some roasted sweet potatoes and some garlic sauteed broccoli. I actually have this entire meal prep. It's one of the most popular meal prep recipe videos on YouTube for me. So if you wanna check that out, I'll link to it. I'm also having a protein shake with this because I'm trying to condense all of my meals into this time window. And so I'm having basically my post-workout breakfast smoothie at this time as well. So the coolest thing about this is that it is a lot of food. It's about 750 calories at this point. I'll put all the macros on the screen for you. I should also mention that my goal, again, is weight maintenance and fat loss. I'm not looking to lose weight. If I were looking to lose weight, I might not have that extra shake, but I'm wanting to add in those extra calories, that fat and that protein, so that I can build more lean muscle and that I maintain the current weight I have. Between about 2 and 3 p.m., we tend to start packing up our stuff and start to head back to meet the kiddos at home after school. I also have more water at this point. I'm just basically drinking water the entire day because not only is it good for your body in general, but it also helps you to feel full and so you're not constantly feeling hungry. So once we get home, the three bigs just get home from school, and this is typically the time that I choose to have my last meal of the day. And I do that because A, I'm hungry, and B, I know that in a little bit I'm gonna have to go pick up Carolina, and she's pretty difficult at dinner time, and I wanna focus on her. So we don't have any soccer practice tonight, so I know I can go ahead and make my salad, which I have a lot of the pieces already prepped ahead because I know that having things ready to grab is gonna make any time I cook easier. Other nights that are busier, we definitely make sure to have meal prep foods in meal prep containers, so all we have to do is grab it from the fridge and reheat it. But today, since I have a little bit of extra time, I'm gonna make myself a tasty salad. So for this meal, my last meal of the day, because I have to get all of my nutrients in at this point, I know my earlier meal today had some lighter fat on there. It was pretty good with carbs, but for this one, I wanna make sure that I add extra fats into it. For this last meal of the day, I actually am less hungry than I am for my first meal when I'm breaking my fast. I find this really interesting because before I started intermittent fasting, I was totally a hangry person at around 6 o'clock. But now with fasting, I don't get shaky, I don't get hangry, and I feel so much more in control of my food and my behavior when I'm not eating. So for this chicken salad, it is roughly the same amount of calories as my entire meal from my first meal today. Also, if I was still feeling hungry, I do have a few calories left for the day. I could always have some like full-fat cottage cheese or some full-fat Greek yogurt, and those are really good options to have because they also make you feel full. They're full of fat and full of protein, and they're really good to have before a fast. So overall, for my macros for the day, I'm pretty much on track. I'm a little bit light on calories, so if I were still hungry, I could have some veggies or a piece of fruit. But I tend to see that it evens out throughout the week, and I kind of eat intuitively rather than really tracking every single macros. I've been doing this for like 10 years now, so I kind of have an understanding of what macros are in the foods that I'm eating, and that's why I weigh myself every day too, is because I can kind of keep track of it that way as well. And I will not eat anything until about 11:30 a.m. the next day. If I do get hungry in my fasting window, particularly in the evening when I'm getting the kids ready for dinner, which is a big trigger because you're smelling all those tasty foods, I choose to have apple cider vinegar mixed with water. And I typically have about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in about 24 ounces of water, and I sip on that, and one of those is enough to make me feel full and satisfied and allows me to avoid snacking. Let me know if you have any questions or share your stories about intermittent fasting in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of video, if you want to know more about intermittent fasting or what I eat in a day kind of videos. Also, make sure to check out my video on apple cider vinegar and why it is so valuable, why I chose to put it in my drink tonight. And also, if you want that chicken meal prep recipe, I have it in the link for you as well. Thanks so much. I will see you in the next video.